My name is Alexander Misharin. I'm the president of Russian Academy of Transport. Today I am honored to be the moderator. Now I'm happy to be welcoming you at the session dedicated to the development of international multimodal transport corridors passing through the countries of Asia and the Middle East. The session taking part in the framework of the 15th International Economic Forum, Russia Islamic World, Kazan Forum 2024. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Marat Hosnullin, Deputy Chairman of the Government of the Russian Federation, Rais of the Republic of Tatarstan, Rustam Minikhanov, as well as all organizers for hospitality and wonderful organization of the event. Many were the participants of the reception we were having last night, a wonderful concert, and I believe that everybody is having a great mood. Dear colleagues, a year has passed since we have met here in this format, and there were quite a lot of important events this year. Stressed the importance of developing of transportation corridors all over the world, including the ones passing through Asia and the Middle East. We are seeing the importance of international transportation corridors, and it would keep on growing. The rate of growth of 30% and more, up to more than 1.5 times. The importance of the development was also stressed by Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, and one of the first decrees he has signed on the day of the inauguration is the decree on the national goals for the development of Russian Federation for the period through 2030 and through 2036, and he charges the increase the transportation through the corridor by no less than 1.5 times, and developing the network of partnerships with foreign states, and developing necessary infrastructure for technological activity and industrial cooperation. And we will understand that without tight cooperation and mutual partnerships, building new trade routes is impossible. We are very happy thus to be seeing here at the session not just representatives of state, the representatives of large corporations, but many international partners of ours. May I introduce the main speakers and participants? In the order of sitting, Mr. Vasily Asmakov, First Deputy Minister of Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation, Mr. Rasim Ibrahim, Minister of Transportation, Republic of Tajikistan, Rais of the Republic of Tatarstan, Rustam Minikhanov, Marat Hosnullin, Deputy Chairman of the Government of the Russian Federation, Igor Levitin, the advisor to the President of the Russian Federation, Special Representative of the Russian Federation President on international cooperation in the area of transportation, Said Mohammed Ahmed Al-Sakri, Minister of Economy of the Sultanate of Oman, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, Chairman of the Board, CEO of DP World, Vadim Zakharenko, Head of the Representative of International Automobile Transport Union for Eurasia. The very first role is we are having Mr. Dmitry Zmerev, State Secretary, Deputy Minister for Transportation of the Russian Federation, Mr. Naruddin Azizi, Minister for Industry and Trade of Afghanistan, Mr. Igor Babushkin, the Governor of Astrakhan region, Jamali Muhammad Khalid, Ambassador, Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. I understand that the gentleman will be joining us briefly. Farid Khanifov, Minister for Transportation and Roads of Republic of Tatarstan, Alexei Ruskich. Yes, see the chair is also empty. The Governor of Ulyanovsky Oblast to be joining us. Georgy Muradov, Deputy Chair, Head of the Council of Ministers of the Republic of Crimea, Permanent Representative of the Republic to the President of the Russian Federation, as well as Javid Kurbanov, Deputy Minister for Transportation of the Republic of Azerbaijan, and many others. Plenty of the heads of various corporations, plenty of speeches, and we are only having 1 hour of 30 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. My dear colleagues, I would like to stress once again that we are having quite a packed agenda. I'd like to draw attention that the Minister of Economy of Sultanate of Oman is with us, Said Mohammed Ahmed Al-Sakri. We are having an hour and a half of work and plenty of presenters. Thus, I would sincerely request you to limit your speeches to 3 to 5 minutes maximum. We understand we have to cover a great many questions, and we all understand well that it is not possible to have such important projects without the support. And I would like to give the floor first to the Deputy Prime Minister of Russian Federation, Marat Khusnullin. Thank you very much for finding time. The floor is yours. Good morning, dear colleagues. Thank you very much for finding time and opportunity to come to Kazan Forum. I would like to express special thanks to our guests traveling to hear from other states, especially from the Persian Gulf, because for us, the development of north-south transportation corridor is one of the most important ones in our country. We are working systemically on this, and there are a number of components that's also including the railroad. We are seeing going through the western coast of Caspian Sea, Azerbaijan, Iran, down to the Gulf, as well as the eastern one through Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, to the Gulf, and the eastern corridor is integrating Central Asia country with the transportation routes to the Russian Federation. Talking about railroad, the work is very big. Coordination of this is the responsibility of new Vice Prime Minister that is identified for the development of transportation, Vitaly Savelyev. He was named just 2 days ago. He would be responsible for coordination. I'm myself responsible for all of the construction, all the infrastructure, including roads. In that sense, we are moving in this regard together. And as I have already stated, issue number 1 is railroads, and there were a number of steps of widening the railroad route from Reshka Starov to be able to transport our loads through Iran down to the sea oceans. Second dimension is, of course, water routes, connection to Caspian Sea, to all the ports of the countries surrounding Caspian Sea. Third question is highways. Situation is better there because roads are in place. Cargo traffic is growing year on year. We, on our side, are bringing the roads in the Russian Federation to proper level. For example, last year, as part of the route Europe to Western Europe, Eastern Europe to Western China has been completed. Moscow to Kazan high-speed highway. We are continuing this highway to Samara, Orenburg to Kazakhstan, and we have a signed agreement with colleagues from Kazakhstan that we are slowly synchronizing our plans for highway construction. We are widening the roads on our side, they are on their side, so we would would be having additional very good highway connecting China and Central Asia with Russia. We are having a very interesting work of developing highways through Uzbekistan, Tajikistan to Afghanistan and Pakistan. We are seeing great interest in this regard and great prospects. We are very happy to be having ministers, representatives of respective countries here with us, and we hope you would be able to discuss this work on the margins of this forum. We have met many times before, and we need to synchronize and speed up the opportunities of the border control pass so that our cargo would not be stuck there. We are working on electronic means to allow seamless transportation to assure trust crossing border without stopping. We believe it's prospective. Over the course of last year, highway cargo traffic has increased by 18%. We are seeing great prospects in this regard. The President is giving special attention to the issue. We are investing a great amount of funds to this. Last year was the most effective one in construction and repair of works. 31,000 kilometers of highways was reconstructed, a lot built. So we will be continuing. We are ready to discuss everything on the margins of the forum. We are ready to come to signing the agreements. We had a number of such agreements signed last year. The work is being done. We are having a dedicated advisor to the President for that very task. Mr. Levitin, his job is very much the assistant to the President on the international transportation corridors. And on top of the north-south, we are also working on the route west to the east from St. Petersburg, Moscow, Kazan, Yekaterinburg, Tyumen, Khabarovsk, and Vladivostok, the existing highway with all its connections to Kazakhstan, Mongolia, and China. We are working very much on this. In that way, you are seeing we are building new roads. We are creating roads that are going around cities, approaches to speed up border crossing for cargo. And this highway is named Russia Highway, approved by the President. And we are seeing the increase of cargo traffic on specific segments more than 50%. Our drivers are comfortable driving to many countries, through Afghanistan to Pakistan quite well, actively working with the neighbor Mongolia, so we will be developing that corridor as well. Thus, thank you very much, dear participants, for participation. I very much hope that today's forum and Kazan event would be useful to all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Marshal Kazyanovich. Indeed, Russia has unique construction speeds for highways, thanks to the government as well as personal contribution of Mr. Marat Husnolin. And then here the words are reflected in actions and the deeds outcomes. I would like to request Mr. Levitin to be speaking at the end, concluding our forum as an assistant to the President of the Russian Federation. Right now, I'm happy to see represent Qatar ambassador to Moscow. Ahmed. Sir, wait a second. I have just introduced your joining us. I would like to thank the race of the Republic of Tatarstan, the leader in many questions, the leader in the development of transportation infrastructure, transportation corridors. I'd like to thank once again Mr. Minikhanov, very active leader for hospitality, wonderful organization of the event. The floor is yours with great pleasure, sir, please.
Well, greeting in local language, Tatar. So we are one of the leading subjects of Republic of Federation. We are Tatarstan, and of course, the statistics for the last year, 4.5 trillion rubles of the gross regional product. And the investments which we have, it's about more than 1 trillion rubles. It all speaks for itself. We produce a lot, we export a lot, and we need markets. And the fact that we are conducting this session today, this session is very important for us. And, well, taking into account that our direction of our contacts and our activity change from west to east, and we need access to southern seas. We believe that this question has strategic importance for our country, and with the Islamic cooperation countries, we work a lot, and through them we go to southern seas, and the growth of cargo turnover is about 83%. It all requires transportation, transport infrastructure. All directions to the west and to the east are all very promising and prospective, and I think that we have to use these opportunities which we have now. We met with our colleagues from different regions, from Kama River, Volga River, Caspian Sea, and this is a big help for us. And we produce not only petrochemical products, but we also produce a lot of agricultural products, halal food products, and all these transportation corridors are very important for us. We work very actively with Kazakhstan, with Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Tajikistan, and we understand that we consider our future cooperation with Afghanistan. I was in Termiz, in our border city. So this cooperation works. We ship cargo to Afghanistan. It is very well organized. Yuri, you have talked a lot, and you have been working in this area for a long time. You're very active in this area, and of course using this opportunity. We have a very important solution. Have made for 3 years. We built highway to Moscow, and this highway will go further to Tyumen city. And we built 2 very important bridges along this highway. So we continue building roads infrastructure to Orenburg, to Almatevsk city. And these decisions are very important for us. So that is why I would like to wish all of you success, and we have to take care of the transportation hubs. We have to build more logistics sites, and we have to keep them in mind when we build up our roadmap in these directions. And I would like to wish successful work to our colleagues, because remember, please, Tatarstan has always been with you and actively participate in all these projects. Well, have a very productive day today. Good luck. Well, yes, Tatarstan has always been a leader, not only in transportation, and we work a lot with artificial intelligence, and I think the results will be very good. So, dear colleagues, transportation corridors, it's a unique technology. It encompasses the latest achievement of technology and science. It provides us with a lot of opportunities, and now I would like to give glory to Vasily Asmakov, the first deputy for Minister of Industry and Trade of Russian Federation. Please, Vasily, floor is yours. So what is your take on the development of the transportation corridors? What is the government view on this important issue? Dear colleagues, yes, I would like to thank my colleagues from Republic of Tatarstan for the great organization of this event. And that's a very interesting site which allows us to look again, at this perspective of the international cooperation. And I am here as an administrator of the national project for export operations. And this is a special program in our country which supports everything which deals with the export of different kind of goods, including different support instruments, lessening the bureaucratic burden. And after 2022, it just happened that the transportation infrastructure and logistics have become the key defining factor for our export. And I would like to share some statistics with you which are very significant. Before 2022, our export was organized in the following way. 40% was for so-called unfriendly countries and 60% for friendly countries. It's 2022. 2023, the statistics is different. 20% unfriendly countries and 80% friendly countries. For 1 year, we see the significant changes and reorientation of the traffic, cargo traffic. So we're talking about new directions, we're talking about new markets, and keeping this in mind, of course, we have now logistic problems and challenges. That is why government developed a roadmap for development of the transportation corridors. And my colleagues from Ministry of Transportation will give you more details about it. But as for the Minister of Transportation and Trade, which supports and organizes export. Within this program for support of export, we are launching 2 important mechanisms. First is we're subsidizing the expenses of logistic operators which will be working and work along these transportation corridors. We're talking about these 4 transportation corridors from Latin America, Africa, Northern Maritime way. Why are we doing these things? Because logistics operators and exporters and importers, we have to train and teach people to use in business to use these transporters. And this year we are launching this program, so it will lead to organizing container cargo trafficking. It will lessen our expenses and it will create sustainable transportation flows. And through this redistribution of this logistic traffic, by 2030, we plan to have $162 billion turnover with these countries. The next key goal which we have within this program is support of industrial presence, as we call, along these transportation lines. So we're talking about industrial parks, logistics hubs, logistics centers, seaports infrastructure, warehouses, and so on. And again, we haven't been doing these things before in the Russian Federation. This is our know-how. We have to learn more. We have to do it together and in parallel with developing transportation corridors. These 2 things, we're starting this project this year, and I would like to thank our colleagues from Tatarstan, because very often Tatarstan companies and industrial parks management, they are our agents, they are our spearheads in organizing this kind of work. And I think it's a very good experience which we're going to scale and disseminate in other countries which we're working for. So these are our plans, and it's the most important priority which was highlighted in the President address. And for us it's very important because these new transportation corridors, redirecting the cargo traffic, it's the key thing to survive in modern conditions for our country. Well, thank you very much, dear colleagues. As you see, the government pays paramount attention to development of the international transportation corridors, and I would like to give floor now to our partners, our colleagues, our foreign colleagues, and I would like to give floor to the Ministry of Economics of the Sultanate Tamam Said Mohammed Ahmed Al Sakri, Minister for Economy, Oman. So the question is, what geopolitical issues do you think you are dealing with, and how the work of our forum can help you in solving this, in tackling these issues? Please, the floor is yours.
شكرا جزيلا أصحاب المعالي.
Well, thank you very much, dear ministers, ambassadors. Allah bless you. And first of all, I would like to thank people and the government of the Russian Federation and Tatarstan for their hospitality. Dear guests, logistics. This is the foundation of any economy, of its diversification, of its competitiveness. Logistics plays a very important role in providing the needs of the global trade. And nowadays, the logistics is going through a number of challenges and problems, mainly connected with the geopolitical changes in regions and in the world in general. So logistics is the most vulnerable to the destabilizing factors because it depends on the transportation limitations, safety of the sea routes, protectionism, and of course it depends on the military threats. During the last several years, these factors has impacted global trade greatly, and of course the prices were growing of the insurance for cargo transportation, and this uncertainty of the perspectives of the future because of the number of geopolitical factors. All these have impacted on the future of the economic growth. And as the International Monetary Fund shows us, from 2021 and 2022, 2023 years, the economic growth we're going down from 6 to 3%, and we're expecting that this year this tendency will continue with the same rate, and also the inflation is going down up to 5.9% as opposed to 6.8% in 2023. These indications are still pretty high. Inflation is still pretty high, so we also expect a slowing down of the global trade compared to 2021, 2022. In 2022, the growth of international trade was by 5.6%, and 2023 only 3% growth. And we have no reason to think that this year's situation will be better. Well, I don't have to say again that the geopolitical tension caused the breaking down of the logistics, and it led to the growth of prices for food, and it caused new threats in different markets. And the growth of the price was about 15%, and so we see these fluctuations in prices, and it all was happening on the background of the events in the Red Sea. Dear ministers, dear ambassadors, dear guests, the conflicts can lead to more military threats, and of course the deepening of the problems, especially in trade, in sea trade, in tourism industry, and in the investment business. And of course the consumer demand will suffer, inflation will grow, and it will be much more difficult to rectify the economic situation in many countries in the world. Well, the picture is pretty agreement, but we have to continue. We have to carry on doing what we have to do, and we have to stop conflicts. And the forum which we are having now here in Kazan, it's a very important site to strengthen trade, economic, scientific, technological, cultural connections. I totally agree with Marat Husnulin that implementation of the agreement of the economic agreement, like Ashgabat agreement about the organization, transportation corridor between Iran, Turkmenistan, Oman, Uzbekistan, it will play a very important role in strengthening economical cooperation. And yes, so we have to support again the idea of this corridor north-south and developing the roadmap for the trade and business exchange between the countries of this region. And dear guests, Sultanate Oman has a number of advantages which makes it a very important player in logistics in this region and in the world as well. Strategically, it has strategically important geographical position, which has 3,000 kilometers of the seashore line. So it makes our seaports very important links in the international trade. We have very well developed sea infrastructure. For example, Sakhar on the north, Port Dert in the middle of the country, and Salala on the south of the country. These seaports work with high efficiency, providing very fast processing of cargo, and it of course simplifies the economic contacts between Asia and Africa, which strengthens and makes more important the role of Oman as international logistics center. Oman ports have very important position on the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean along the very busy sea traffic ways. They have modern equipment, cargo equipment, processing equipment, and they have high level of quality of all possible cargo operations. And of course, they are very attractive for a lot of international transportation companies. Dear ministers, dear ambassadors, in conclusion, I would like to say that Sultanate Oman is able to provide high level of logistics services, which are a very important factor of the development of the global trade. We can satisfy needs of many countries in this area. And this is how we want to explain, or want to develop our ports. We want to continue doing this thing. At the same time, we support international agreements about the sea cargo traffic. We join these kind of agreements. We ratify these agreements, and in this direction, we do a lot on the diplomatic area, trying to live in peace with all peoples, with all countries, and we do all our best to stop geopolitical conflicts which we see all around the world. And well, let Allah help us in our strive to prosperity and peace. Prosperity and peace. Thank you very much. Dear Minister, yes, you are quite right that nowadays the demand for development of the transportation corridors is very important, is amount, and basically now we have on the limit of our transportation capacity, and sometimes these existing corridors are not safe. So that is why we see the demand on new corridors. And now I would like to give floor to Mr. Aziz Ibrahim, Minister of Transportation of Republic of Tajikistan. So as how you, as a minister, see the development of the transportation corridors?
Dear Mr. Husnulin, dear Mr. Minikhanov, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, to begin with, On behalf of the government of the Republic of Tajikistan and myself personally, let me express our gratitude to the government of the Russian Federation for the invitation and for the opportunity given to take part on the 15th anniversary event Russia Islamic World dedicated conference Kazan Forum 2024, being wonderful city, the capital of Tatarstan. I thank the Rais of the Republic for wonderful opportunities there for hospitality, etc. This event is dedicated to a very important topic, the question of international transportation corridors going through the countries of Asia and the Middle East. This is an opportunity to discuss the questions of international transportation corridors, interconnectedness of industries, their development, stressing the transit and transportation corridors for the international development, stability, and sustainable growth. In the current situation, transportation corridors are playing an important role in the development of transportation network between the regions, promoting the international cooperation as well as growing new economic, scientific, and technical and cultural links between countries. We understand that the activation of cooperation and the transportation, be it at the regional, be it at international levels, is an important condition for global sustainable development. Geographic and economic positions of Tajikistan are demonstrating very big transit potential. Tajikistan is an active participant of international conventions and programs, regional international initiatives, is making everything possible for the development of transportation, has identified its strategic objective to transform the country into a very comfortable transit environment. The Republic has identified 10 priority trade and transit corridors going from east to west and north to south. Corridors of international significance as part of the international programs of regional economic cooperation of Central Asia, and 4 routes of the transportation corridors, Traseka 2 routes, Asian highways 3, and European international cooperation 1 route. The government of the country is paying great attention to the economic and multimodal transport routes of Tajikistan connecting Southeast Asia with the Central Asia, Russia, Iran, Turkey, and other countries that help the access to seaports. We are working actively to use the opportunities of the corridors at Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, Turkey, giving the shortest route from the Chinese People's Republic through our territory to the above-mentioned countries, and thus promoting regional economic integration. This international multimodal corridor is linking China with the countries of the north to south route, thus connecting Indian Ocean and the Gulf through the Caspian Sea with our north-south corridor, promoting the connectedness of adjacent countries, both regionally and globally, assures uninterrupted, timely, and effective flow of goods between them. Tajikistan, understanding well the importance of north-south route, back in 2004 decided that it will be joining this initiative. The President of the Republic of Tajikistan, the leader of the nation, distinguished Imam Ali Rahman, has declared that north-south route would be growing the transit potential of the region. We had a meeting with you, Mr. Husnul, and we were talking about the topic. Dear colleagues, the growing globalization of trade and economic contacts is causing the need for speeding up national integration transportation systems into a global transportation system. The main objective of this is development of international transit corridors and harmonization of legislation, assuring connectedness and safety on transportation, assuring competitiveness of transportation transportation system, using transit potential of the country, improving regional investment, development of market relations. All of that is tightly related to the growth of logistics in our country. For the purpose of growing trade and economic relations, speeding up the integration of national transportation systems, the Republic of Tajikistan, the Central Asia, the Trans-Caspian transportation corridor, ensuring the free flow of goods, people, and services. We are proposing various institutions and partners to take a look at the opportunity of funding as a priority, funding especially the transportation and logistics industry of respective countries. We are proposing to take part in the field of construction and modernization of various infrastructure, especially on the international transportation corridors and adjacent infrastructure. In this regard, the recent initiative of the President of Tajikistan, Emomali Rahmon, on his initiative and support of international funding institutions, over 60 projects worth $2.2 billion, over 2,200 kilometers of highways, international and republic national level were introduced, as well as other facilities meeting international standards. In the coming years, based on the program for the development of Tajikistan, the country is to develop for a number of other complexes having regional and international importance. Transportation is a strategic industry for our country. It's made an important role in meeting out needs of the national economy in transportation of green cargo and passenger transportation. 70% of the cargo in the country is transported by rail in Tajikistan. In the railroad area, we are having ready projects for implementation as well. And I would like to note in conclusion that the priority task for Tajikistan in the area of development of transportation and communication complex is assuring its competitiveness in the process of globalization and integration of transportation systems, thus incentivizing trade flows through the territory of the country by means of growing and making transportation corridors more comfortable. Republic of Tajikistan is always open for constructive cooperation with our brotherly, neighborly nations of the region. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for taking part in the forum. Thank you for providing us with information on the development in your republic. And I'm confident that we are having a lot of joint projects. Dear colleagues, DP World is one of the largest port operators globally. And with us, we are having the chairman of the board, the CEO of DP World, Mr. Sultan Ahmed bin Sulaim. I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency and say, Mr. Chairman is taking active part in many of our events on the development of the corridor and is taking active part also in the development of joint production and businesses. And I'd like to ask, sir, what other areas, what other sites could be used to improve efficiency, effectiveness of our interaction, which is already at a high level today, sir? And how do you see the development of international transportation corridors? Thank you.
Very much. First of all, I'm very honored to attend the Kazan Forum today. It's my first time to visit this beautiful place, and we have business naturally in Russia. But DP World, we are in about 82 countries. We have 146 locations where we operate. We have 80 port terminals, and the rest are dry ports. Our main business is not just operation, but the whole supply chain. In Russia, our partner is Rosatom, where we are looking at a lot of businesses, an opportunity to improve the logistics. Russia is the best, most direct, and shortest route to connect the Far East to Europe and this part. And with Mr. Levitin, actually, which I'm honored to see him, and congratulations in your leadership position, we're working closely to fix the problem of the supply chain. The big issue today is supply chain is very fragmented and very weak. In the pandemic, we've seen the weakness very clearly, where when China shut down, everything shut down. And today, after the pandemic, we have a few opportunities. Many companies today in the Far East are looking for nearshoring. It's a concept where it was always talked about, but there was no necessity. But after the pandemic, people realized that they need to do nearshoring, meaning you should not manufacture a product somewhere where the customer is somewhere else. Produce where the consumer is. Just like Apple decided to move from China to India. There are many companies in the Far East who want to move for two reasons: the supply chain and shipping costs, and to diversify, but most importantly is to ensure cargo is going. The pandemic delayed everything, but look at a small example. When the Ever Given vessel stranded in Suez Canal for 40 hours, the cargo was delayed for about 3 months. Today, we're working in different routes to accommodate that. One of them, which is we are very proud to be partners with Rosatom, is the North Transit route. The North Transit route, if you look at Tokyo, to take a cargo from Tokyo to London through Suez Canal is 24,000 kilometers and 40 days. If things are okay in the Red Sea. Through the Northern Transit route, it is 13,000 kilometers and about 18 to 20 days. Much faster, better for the environment, no pollution, no need to sail that much. Now, to avoid that, we have to find different routes. I'm working with Levitine about many opportunities today, where today, even from Kazan today, you can take a shipment on the Volga River all the way to the Caspian in 7 days. We're having also shipment through Pakistan all the way to Iraq, through Iran, or through Afghanistan, and up to Uzbekistan in 7 and 8 days. These alternatives are important. We are today looking as DP World at Oman as an amazing location where if I have cargo from India, why would I bring it to Dubai? I can utilize the facility in Oman to go to Africa. The idea today with everybody, it doesn't matter what the cost. Everybody is worried, when will it be delivered? That's very important. With Mr. Levitine, we are also working on the route through Iraq and then continues Turkey and bring it here. Another route is through Iran on the rail, Azerbaijan, and back to Moscow. These are new routes which we didn't have in the past. Today, these routes are available and we're using them. I really urge that all of us in the logistic people, we should continually, regularly meet, because there are so many changes in the world. But for sure, logistics have to be improved. The communication on the software that we use have to change. And we believe there'll be a lot of growth. And even though we see the challenges, I think it's going to produce for us a lot of opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Indeed, very important proposal. I am quite confident we will be able to have such a platform to be discussing these very important questions. I'd like now to give the floor to the Deputy Minister of Transportation of the Russian Federation State Secretary, Mr. Zvezda. This year, design and construction will start so that by 2028 we will have through communication lines. The tasks for the year are defined. We signed a roadmap with Azerbaijan, and through the end of July we are to prepare a draft intergovernmental agreement to make sure that whole of the chain is fully worked on. from the ports from the northwestern federal district of Russian Federation to Bandarabas and other ports in the Gulf, as well as in the Persian Gulf and other countries as well. What are we doing? Well, next step is a regulatory interaction and as well as development of future mechanisms, strengthening in the Russian legislation the aspects that we are marking in intergovernmental responsibilities and the format either use or pay. And that is a mandatory norm for new routes, new corridors for us to be creating, showing to investors on one side, as well as cargo traffic shippers and receivers, the stability of work which is provided on one side by the guarantees of the state and seen and supported by federal laws. Now, what are we having on the track of interaction with the countries? We believe that the signing in November 2023 first an MOU for the development of new corridor through the Russian Federation, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. And now, 2 weeks ago in the city of Termez, we have signed a roadmap with the specific events for the development of that corridor. And Mr. Husnulin has correctly stated that first cargo started being shipped. At the motto, it's highway plus multimodal with the possibility of using multimodal ports in Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan based on needs. And Turkmenistan is joining to use the Caspian component. Very good content, and of course that's a first step to start developing a respective corridor and justifying the need for the construction of Trans-Afghanistan Railroad. We are preparing a respective agreement drafts. MOU is signed. Russia is actively working. We made respective commitments in March and April. As in the form of soft protocols, the government-level decisions as part of Intergovernmental Commission. What else I would like to add? Either mechanism ship or pay is the right of non-discriminatory access for Russia, and we would of course be defining that in detail, and colleagues would confirm establishing sustainable payment mechanism, constructive alternative that assures clear guarantees. Moreover, if we take a look at the practice of using corridors when either countries are using their own mechanism or a single currency if at the moment, if possible, if necessary. Thank you very much, Mr. Zverev. A lot is being done, and I'm confident that we will reach there. Before I give the floor to Vadim Zakharenko, the head of the representative office of the International Road Transport Union of Eurasian Economic Union. I'd like to thank Mr. Rustam Minnikhanov for dedicating time to our session. We well know that he has a lot of events, especially as a host, and I'm quite confident that Tatarstan will demonstrate to us great many projects and events, and most importantly, staff. Good job. Thank you. Vadim Zakharenko, please.
Your Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by thanking the organizers for hosting this important event on enhancing transport connectivity, resilience, and sustainability across Asia and the Middle East. IRU is the voice of over 3.5 million transport companies operating mobility and logistics services worldwide. After having been founded in Geneva in 1948 and after creating the TIR system in 1949, IRU over the decades expanded to all corners of the globe. It's not only Europe, Asia, or Eurasia, it's of course the Middle East, the Gulf region, Latin America, and all other regions and continents. Road transport is, of course, an essential service, and no country can live without it. Road transport can easily adapt to blockages and quickly reroute services, what we are witnessing today in response to various crises around the globe. We are not bound by rail. We do not need to go to a port, to airport. In many cases and instances, we do not even need a road to get to where we need to get to. However, we deliver all the foods, essentials, other medicines and other essential products that people need in various countries. Therefore, resilient and sustainable connectivity needs resilient and sustainable road transport. And this is exactly at the heart of IRU to advance the industry around the world. And advance on what we at IRU call the 3Ds: digitalization, driver shortage, and decarbonization. Firstly, digitalization. Over the past few years, we have witnessed large shifts in trade flows that are putting even more pressure on already congested border crossing points. The Red Sea crisis has now further accentuated the challenges for global trade and transport. While investments in infrastructure and hardware are important, and indeed road transport sector appreciates every millimeter of infrastructure built, but the biggest return on investments are provided by soft measures, soft infrastructure that is changing the existing procedures. With internationally harmonized instruments, we can maximize transport and transit potential and help mitigate inefficiencies and bottlenecks. Trade facilitation tools such as TIR, which has been managed by IRU for 75 years, were developed exactly for this purpose, to streamline border crossing operations. There is no good reason for drivers and goods to be stuck at borders for hours, days, and sometimes weeks to get from one side of the border to the other. If trucks are blocked at borders, economic development stops. Therefore, a swift transition from paper documents to digital exchange of data on transit, transport and customs procedures, as well as permits and visas, has never been more urgent. The second D, driver shortage. IRU's latest driver shortage report has found that over 3 million truck drivers' positions are currently unfilled in just 36 countries, and already a green figure which is projected to double by 2028 without significant action. To fundamentally address the chronic shortage of drivers, we need to improve the working conditions and access to the profession to attract more people, especially the younger generation. To put it more simply, drivers need to be finally recognized as an essential and irreplaceable role they play for society and economies. During the COVID pandemic, we all witnessed drivers as real-life heroes. They do not drive for fun. It is to meet a social and economic need. Finally, the third D, decarbonization. The commercial road transport industry under IRU Green Compact, it's our roadmap, has committed to reach carbon neutrality by 2050. To decarbonize while continuing to meet a growing transport demand, we need to start with a focus on transport energy efficiency. As well, in parallel, a longer-term investment in operationally and economically feasible alternative fuels, and the infrastructure needed to operate medium and heavy-duty commercial transport with these new technologies. Actually, the proven technologies and efficient logistics vehicles and drivers we have available today can allow us to reduce CO2 emissions by nearly 50%, not tomorrow, already today. IRU has come a long way in 75 years, the anniversary we celebrated last year. Working closely with members and governments as well as the United Nations, IRU has pioneered many international road transport standards, many of which have gone on to become UN legal instruments over the decades. Of course, in the current environment, road transport and road transport in particular face a lot of challenges. But at the same time, there are a lot of opportunities that lie ahead. And we need to work together in order to grasp these opportunities. That's why, as representatives of road transport and the private sector, we would strongly encourage that we have more discussion platforms that can bring together businesses, public sector, in order to find new ways, new opportunities for our industry. And in closing, I'm proud and delighted that governments and businesses worldwide, including many in this room today, are benefiting from IRU's decade-long experience and expertise to build a better, greener, and more efficient road transport sector that drives resilient and sustainable connectivity. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, Вадим.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Vadim. We have done a lot, and it's very important that your organization now supports industries, transportation industries in many countries. Of course, it facilitates the development of further relationship. Dear colleagues, we have a lot of presenters, and we are already behind our time frame, and now I would like to give floor to Deputy Transportation Minister Azerbaijan, Zavid Kurbanov. He is a professional in our industry. He knows a lot about transportation. So please, floor is yours. Let me greet all of you and just to thank the government of Republic of Tatarstan for your wonderful hospitality. The strategy of social-economic development, which was set up by our national leader Gidar Aliyev and Ilham Aliyev, now allowed us to implement a lot of transportation projects in our country. Nowadays, Azerbaijan is one of the most important transport and logistics regions for Central Asia. Our country plays a very important role for development of transportation corridors. During the several years, the importance of this kind of transportation and transportation corridors increased significantly, and we use with the maximum efficiency international transportation routes, which allow us to activate to the maximum the transportation potential of our countries. We continue the process of organizing free economic zones in order to strengthen the role of Azerbaijan in international trade markets. As a result of it, we organize highly efficient businesses and attract investors. We use new technologies and sustainable development and create new jobs. We work as a multimodal transportation hub. Azerbaijan has become one of the consolidating hubs for the road transportation, and we are planning to play an important role in the international multimodal transportation. We pay significant attention to the development of the international transportation corridor north-south, which has a very promising perspective and future for the surrounding regions, and which will shorten the time for shipping from Gulf countries and to the Eastern and Western Europe. Azerbaijan is the only country which has the land border with Russia and Iran, so the geographical position allows us to organize the trilateral cooperation. We have organized new transportation corridors and used them, and we're building new ones. Last year, on the border of the Azerbaijan-Russian border, we opened Haraba checkpoint, and we built new road Baku to Russian Federation. And we also recently built new bridge across Astrachay River and model checkpoint on the border of Azerbaijan and Iran. Of course, we have done a lot to improve the railroad communication. The length of this railroad is about 511 kilometers, and on Azerbaijan we have built new railroad 83 kilometers length, which reaches to the Astrachay bridge. And we also implement build the railroad kilometers from the railroad to the Astana in Iran, which provides the railroad connection between Azerbaijan and Iran along this route. We are intensifying the capacity of the Astana terminal on Iran, and we plan to finish it in the end of this year. Apart from that, we continue to renovate the railroad Ashamtan-Baku, and total capacity 37 million tons. The importance of this corridor, which is 167 kilometers, is very important for our economy, which is the missing link now for our economic connections. I will hope that after we finish all these infrastructural products, so the distance will decrease from 16,000 kilometers to 7,000 kilometers. And the time from 56 days to 25 days. As opposed to the traditional railroads. So it will be the shortest railway. Now Azerbaijan is ready to continue developing these new roads from north to south, and Azerbaijan has been talking about it in many places and in many events. But the investments are not enough. In order to attract new investments, we have to expand transportational infrastructure. We have to increase the competitiveness and the quality of the transportation services. We have to provide speed, reliability, and coordination of the price policy. We have to be more active in increasing competitiveness of multimodal routes, and we have to work together in order to streamline and harmonize our tariff policy. We have to simplify paperwork when we cross borders, and we have to synchronize operations of transportation companies and railroad management. And the cooperation between the countries, it's a strategically important step. We have to invest into infrastructure, we have to standardize our procedures for the road transportation and railroad transportation, so we have to increase the reliability of this transportation. So let me thank again the organizers for these wonderful conditions, for the very good level of the organization of this event, and thank you very much for your hospitality again. Yes, Azerbaijan is doing a lot for the development of the South and News. Yes, and I would like to give floor to the Ambassador of Qatar in Moscow, Ahmed Ben Nasser Ben Jassim Al Thani. So please, would you please tell us what's your opinion about the development of the multimodal corridor? So. Thank you very much, and first of all I would like to thank you for the invitation to take part in this forum. You all know that Qatar is a strategic ally of the Russian Federation, and I would like to thank organizers of this forum. It's a great event. and it's one of the most important events in which I have been a participant. I would like to thank Russian Federation for its attention to the friendly countries, especially in the area of economic cooperation. The transportation corridor north-south, it's a very important project, and it serves the sustainable development of economy of the friendly countries. So that is why we really appreciate this Russian initiative. And I would like to say that in our country, in Qatar, we pay a lot of attention to the joint projects of the Russian Federation, and for us it's very important to continue this project north-south, and it's important for many countries of this region, but of course we all understand the very peculiar conditions on the international arena, and it requires from us to concentrate on this project and to pay more attention to this project. Of course, it's in the interest of all countries, and nowadays we are very much interested in the partnership of Russian Federation in this project. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. For participation in our forum and for the support of this project. We really appreciate the importance of Qatar in this cooperation. Dear colleagues, the gates to the north-south is the Astrakhanskaya Oblast. I would like to give floor to the governor of this area, one of the initiators and one of the prime movers of this project. Well, thank you very much. Dear colleagues, dear participants, yes, it's pretty clear that during the last several years we managed to increase the turnover in the north-south, and in 2022 it was 17 million tons, and at the same time I would like to say that the most cargo is on the Trans-Caspian area, and our region is the key point of the area, and it goes through the seaports of Astrakhan and Ale, which is in the Astrakhan area, and it's with its capacity about 16 million tons. And we continue modernizing the port infrastructure, and we see the growth of this cargo processing. So in 2023 we went through the 4.5 million tons, and it's the best one for the last decade, and this year for the first quarter we see the growth to the same period about 80%. And in our region we developed Caspian cluster, which includes two economic zones, industrial type and port. And in port zone nowadays we have two residents, and the anchor project is building the container terminal. The second resident is building a terminal for oil and grain crops and vegetable oil. Also in our region we are solving the issues of shipbuilding to work in the Caspian Sea. For example, we started building 3 container carriers for Caspian Sea, which can carry about 430 containers. We have 10 shipyards for different ships, for bottom deepening and for shelf oil deposits as well. For a long time, one of the difficult factors for us, it was the condition of the Caspian Canal, and we finished a lot of work. The capacity, the depth is now about 4.5 meters, and we see the increase in cargo turnover. To increase the efficiency of transportation corridor, we need to synchronize the work of all interested parties, and we are doing this work in our working groups, and we increase the capacity of it from Astrakhan to the up there in the Volga River, which will provide the connectivity of the different regions of the Volga Basin, Azov, and northwest basin of the Volga River. We are very actively attract our partners in the Caspian to implement joint projects through our region, and we transit cargo from Turkey, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, and Republic of Belarus to Russia and back. And of course, the 90% of cargo go from Iran and to Iran. And last year, for the first time, we conducted an international forum for Entacon North-South, and we saw a great interest towards this project. And we will continue this work, and we will continue to increase the cargo turnover in this area. Thank you very much.
Спасибо, Игорь Юрьевич.
Thank you, Igor Yuryevich. A very, very important work that is transforming the economics of shipment on Volga and shipment in general. We have been discussing this topic quite a lot with Vasily Sergeyevich, and not just transportation, but also industry and technologies. An important work that deserves continuation. Thank you very much for participation. I'd like to give the floor to the Minister in Trade of Afghanistan, Mr. Nuruddin Azizi. Mr. Minister, please, your comments and position on participation in the forum and development of the corridors. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. First of all, I would like to thank participants of this meeting, and particularly I would like to thank His Excellency Mr. Rustam Minikhanov for the invitation to take part in this forum. We have been invited last year too to take part in this forum. When we heard about the and we learned about the north-south, east-west corridors, we had a chance to talk with people from Turkmenistan on the topic. We became more active because understand that neither the Western Corridor nor North-South Corridor can be possible, may be possible without Afghanistan participation. Truly. We had an agreement with Turkmenistan to create a large logistics center near the border with Turkmenistan in Herat. We are also having a TAC agreement signed in recent months. We have a representative of DP World present here. We had negotiations to connect Karachi with Central Asia. We are having a border with China, with Tajikistan, with Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Iran, and Pakistan. The population of Afghanistan is about 40 million. And the population of Pakistan is about 250 million people. And the shortest route for connection is through Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. I am requesting Mr. Husnullin to represent Afghanistan as an active participant of the corridor north-south, and we promise that Afghanistan will be an active participant and will be doing everything possible to implement this project. We have hundreds of thousands of modern transportation vehicles, about 100,000 of transportation means that work off season through the times after the times that Americans have left. In this regard, we can contribute into the developing of both north-south communication as well as create jobs for the Afghans. Afghanistan has well-balanced both economy, external policy, and I'm ready to state the interest of Afghanistan to have good relations with all the countries, including the northern countries. Thank you. Thank you, my dear colleagues. We are here implementing an important project, the Great Volga route, and here I would like to give the floor to the governor of the Ulyanovsk region, active participant, Alexei Ruskich. Dear Igor Evgenievich, Marshak Ryazановich, dear colleagues, good morning. Thank you very much for the floor. And thank you for the trade routes that are coming through Ulyanovsk region and the cooperation with other regions. Volga region is located in the historically important area for our country. We are very much interested in the use of our logistic possibility. One of the most important elements today is the water way from mid-Volga down to Caspian, and then of course it's extending to overland to the Gulf region. We are hoping that this will be increasing interaction with nearby countries. What have we done? We have already interacted with a number of domestic and private and state structures participating in this direction. Without any exceptional participants are supporting the projects and ready to take part, that would allow us to integrate the the work efforts of all partners in this network. Let me name those partners: Russia-Turkmenistan Business Council, Eurasia Shipping, that is Binder Damzali, BTS, operator of Astrakhan block, Payam Cargo Airport in Iran, RZD Logistics, Mizair Neman Company Holding, State Perisil Logistics Company that is managing Iranian ports, the representative of Kazvin, the railway transportation. In February, we had negotiations with one of the key partners, Euroseam Logistics, that is already offering cargo shipments to Azerbaijan. We have reached agreement on Trans-Iranian Logistics. Oral Group, our partners, have offered us good delivery of industrial chemicals from Ulyanovsk to Bandar Abbas port, 40 containers a month already. Special thanks to Azerbaijani partners, and I'm sincerely grateful for their participation in all projects. With the nearby regions, we are now organizing shipping jointly to Baku and down south. We are now having leading negotiations on transportation of shipping, cereals, furniture, and other things to Azerbaijan markets. We have interacted with the railroads in order to use Eastern Railroad Corridor. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that we have tested how this works together to use a highway railroad to Iranian ports, for example, to Afghanistan, is being shipped since March. We have tested 1,000 tons a month, and since June we would start shipping now various vegetable oils through this channel. The most challenging element is what goods to ship backwards. You understand that this balance is 80 export, 20 import. Thus, all of the logistics business has to be paid off based on the one-way shipment, and we found a way to find some goods that Ulyanovsk region needs, various vegetables, fruits, some other things that Ulyanovsk needs. So some results are already there, various metal, steels, various glasses, construction materials. I'd like to thank Mr. Afanasy Nikitin, thank the Association of Railroad Logistics participants. Another important element is the participation with the regions in the deep cooperation. We have signed agreements on cooperation with the Republic of Tatarstan, Republic of Chuvashia, Republic of Mariel, Penzinskaya Oblast. We have created a working group, and we are now identifying the frequency of respective shipments on using various formats through these route. I would like to thank the gratitude to the heads of other regions and participating in this mid-Volga Caspian Sea to the Gulf is only possible thanks to the deep cooperation of all participants of this chain. To assure uninterrupted work, a lot is still to be done, including at the state level. Now maybe a few words about our initiatives. Here is what we propose. We propose to create single operators on the key segments of North-South International Transportation Corridor. It will be important from the technical side, consolidation of various levels of authority, identifying the work of the main elements of transportation infrastructure, different things, looking at the depth necessary, dredging in case the depths are not too deep, as well as other aspects. We have seen that kind of formulation is adopted by the Federal Ministry of Trade and Industry, and we do hope to see the help of the federal authorities of strengthening us. We have here is what needs to be done to properly use the possibilities of Volga River as well as railroad corridors on the route. State support, construction, and developing our river fleet, etc., etc. Main issues on the screen. I am wholeheartedly thanking our partners from all key countries, partners, for the development of the opportunities offered by this corridor. Quite confident we can reach two successes with the support. Thank you very much, Alexey Yurievich. Indeed, very important proposals here. They would be accounted for not just as part of the forum, but also as a larger project, a Great Volga Route. Igor Yurievich is heading the working group of the State Council of the governors, over 30, and I believe that's an important breakthrough project. If we bring our efforts together and we can demonstrate this not only to the people of Russia, but also the people globally, that the Great Volga River is an important not just river, but sea, social, and cultural path that can help us to assure communication from Baltic Sea, north-south, and not just to Caspian Sea, but even further. Dear participants, we are having two speakers, and Mr. Levitin is to draw our conclusions. That's why I would request both Georgy Muradov as well as Farid Khanif to say a few words. Well, I always get that because, Crimea is our star. Crimea, the southern sea gate of Russia. Well, we are speaking about a new, very important project, north-south. We remember that we need to keep in mind the existing north-south route, and that north-south existing one is related to Crimea and, of course, new territories, new regions, historic territories that have been spoken about many times by the President of Russian Federation. We should not forget that old route, because if in a fortress or in your yard you are having gates, there are more than just one gate. Our gates are working. Novorossiysk is fully working port, and so is the Crimea with its 8 ports is ready to work. So we would like to draw your attention, dear audience, to the following aspects. And the strategic documents, as well as in the totality of our work on the development of routes, we propose to consider events for the development of Black Sea ports, possibly even on creation of new deep sea ports that are being foreseen in the strategy on the Caspian route. Alexander Sergeyevich, you are speaking about the river to sea, which is important for Russia because Russia is living with it, and the river sea route is also coming into the Black Sea as well. I'd like to add that Crimea is the geographically closest region to the Middle East and Northern Africa, just one night to Turkey, to Libya, Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, 5 to 6 days, and of course to the countries of Eastern Africa is a week to 8 days. Speaking about Eritrea and other countries of the Eastern Africa on the Red Sea. So this is the shortest, cheapest route. We always believe that a competitive component should be kept in mind, so please inviting you not to forget about Crimea. The elements mentioned by colleagues, sanctions, complexities, etc., well, these always surface in the history of development of the world, and we should be remembering that the objectives set by the presidential decree are long-term, so we should be looking at 12-year span, and we should be looking even further, and the issues related to Crimea and nearby in the region would be soon resolved, and At the end, when people are getting tired, I'm trying to give some inspiring phrase. While people are speaking about sanctions, problems, difficulties with payments, let me give you 4 lines of our great poet, Mr. Frolov-Krymsky. And look how they dreamed on the west to subdue us either with honey or with the beach. And then it was Ramzan with his Allah and Ivan with his cross have blocked their terrible efforts. May God Almighty help us. Thank you, sir. Mr. Muradov, no one doubts the fact that Crimea has colossal opportunities for development, and I would just correcting, this is not an old corridor, that's a corridor forever. It was, it is, and it will be there. And we remember that Christian Orthodox Russia was also beginning from Russia. Fatima, the floor is yours.
Good morning, dear guests. I'll be talking about the transportation system of Republic of Tatarstan. Also, I have very good news in terms of development of the railroad transportation, because for us it's very important. We petrochemical republic, and we move a lot. So the scheme, we are connected with the 4 main checkpoints, and the distances are quite different, from 900 kilometers to 1600, but it just happened that the shortest railroad is doesn't mean the fastest railroad, and so sometimes we have blockages and traffic jams in the railroad system. So we work together with Kazakhstan. They help us. We visited them twice, and we considered the routes on the Kazakhstan Republic, and also up to the countries of the Middle Asia. So exactly the same situation we can see in this. So the opinion of our, let me just express the opinion of our ministers. So we have to work together with all participants of the transportation corridor or unified logistical operator. We have been talking about it. So we have to have tariff regulation where we have problems with the capacity of the we have to renovate the infrastructure, and we have to increase the capacity of the railroad. Thank you very much. Tatarstan, we can talk a lot about Tatarstan, so that is why we definitely will have a possibility to be here and talk about it. Well, thank you very much for all of us. Thank you very much that this we have to just disseminate these slides, organizers. Oh, we will take them into account. So nowadays I would like to give floor for the conclusion remarks to Mr. Levinitin, the advisor for the President of Russian Federation, the special representatives of Russian Federation, so please, floor is yours. Thank you very much. Dear colleagues, well, first of all, thank you very much for coming here, being here. What I want to say is, well, the corridors do not appear just by themselves. No. We have to work on this. Russia is one of the biggest country with a lot of cargo to move. Europe, Southeast Asia, China, India. So Russia participates in 10 international transportation corridors. What we have to do in the nearest future, we have to have the coordination of all the governments which are participating in these corridors, because bilateral relationship sometimes they contradict the whole idea of the transportation corridor. So that is why if we are part of the corridor, you have to participate, all of us. Otherwise, this corridor will have a lot of problems. And so first issue is coordination. The second, what is difficult to understand that, for example, you have a driverless truck and the internet and the artificial intelligence will talk with the border control or the custom officer. And it will be, the whole world is moving along this way. We have to prepare the legislation for this kind of logistics operations. Otherwise, we'll be lagging behind. And I want you to understand that digitalization and artificial intelligence are already important in organizing transportation corridors. So international associations, we have associations of the automobile transportation. We have international association of the sea transportation, air traffic transportation, but unfortunately they support these sanctions which are imposed on us. So if it's so international organization doesn't play its role, and we have to organize some kind of a parallel organization. So it mustn't be like that. If international organization has the authority to regulate transportation, it must not impose any limitations on the countries, and otherwise this international organization cannot regulate the global transportation community. Well, thanks to my colleague, who is a head of the DP world, because he said that we must have a special site. Look, oil businesses, gas business companies, aviation associations, they have their own international forums. Transport businesses don't have such forum, and I understand why. Because those who impose sanctions, they want to separate us. So that is why I support the GP World idea to organize the unified site or platform on which we can discuss our problems and then talk with our governments, because transportation business can damage economy of any country, or vice versa, make any economy very successful. So that's why I support it. And our next round table will be in St. Petersburg, and this round table will be the corridor north-south. And so let's collect all proposals which we have today, which we'll listen to. Let's them formalize them, and in St. Petersburg we will send this proposal to the heads of the states. And thank you very much for your participations, and thank you very much for your proposals. Thank you. Thank you, Igor. Thank you, Marat. Thank you, dear colleagues, for support. Yes, we will do it. Thank you very much. Let me invite you to the plenary session. Well, good luck.